Kirk Morrison was the guest speaker at this week's Rotary Club meeting, and of course, the hot topic was the wastewater treatment plant. The new treatment plant is high on the priority list for community members and council as the city continues to look for alternatives to the issue.
I think right now we're really focused on having another look at the new grant programs that have been announced by the federal and provincial governments. Certainly that's a big opportunity for the city to attract some investment, and at the same time we are continuing to research different ownership models for the creation of a utility corporation.
Morrison says the city plans to look at every option available. The EPCOR deal is currently on hold, and they plan to continue efforts to gain funding and grants from the government.
Essentially just looking at other models. Certainly there's an appetite in the city for maintaining 100% local ownership, and that is one of the areas that we're exploring.
The city has until 2017 to rectify this situation, but as it stands right now, Morrison says the city probably won't be able to meet that deadline. And the Rotary Club also presented the Lloydminster Fire Rescue Squad with a $4,000 check at today's meeting. Well, an exciting accomplishment for the Habitat for Humanity on the Border Lloydminster Society, as they've been named the recipient of the Canada's Volunteer Award for Social Innovator category for the Prairies. The award recognizes the work being done building homes and serving families in the community, as well as for the first ever on-reserve build with the Flying Dust First Nation in Meadow Lake.
We have worked with Indigenous people off reserve, but never on reserve. So we're breaking ground, and we hope that it will move right across the country.
There were 365 nominations in 16 categories, and along with the certificate, Habitat Lloydminster was also awarded a $5,000 grant.
Honestly, it's the most humbling experience I've ever had. To be recognized by your government, by your community, there are not words to express what it meant to me to be in Ottawa.
The key dedication for the Elders Lodge project will be on June 24th. Well, from touring with the National Youth Band of Canada to being accepted to study with an international flute star in Austria, one Holy Rosary student is in for the experience of a lifetime. Shelby Bauk has been playing flute since she was in grade 6, performing with the National Youth Band of Canada. As one of the youngest members, the band toured around Saskatchewan, also performing 7 concerts in the span of 3 days.
There was only about 10 other people who weren't in university, and the band was made up of 60 people.
Aside from that experience, Bauk applied and has now been accepted as one of 8 people from around the world to attend a class put on by one of the world's top flute players, Jasmine Choi.
Especially going to Austria, that's just a crazy dream that I thought would never happen, and now it is, and it's crazy.
Bauk says she practices for at least an hour or more every day. She leaves for Austria at the end of the month. Well, so much of the Alberta economy relies on the oil and gas sector. While the price of crude has been down significantly over the past year, it's slowly starting to come back. In this week's Retrospect, Hannah Tita takes you back to a time when low prices meant layoffs in the border city.
Heavy oil production in the Midwest has once again fallen on some hard times. The price of crude is considerably lower than before the breakout of tensions in the Persian Gulf last summer, and that's left local oil companies with some difficult decisions. For service companies, that could spell bad news. Some have been forced to lay off employees in the past week, while others are seriously considering it.
Higher oil prices in November and December turned 1990 into a banner year for the oil industry. In the last quarter alone, drilling quadrupled.
Our rig count went up probably from 125 to about 185 rigs working in Alberta, and it took off.
Some industry analysts figure the price of oil will rise again. However, Hoffer says it's hard to predict what will happen in the coming months.
Maybe that the price of oil can get itself back to $20, $25 a barrel where people can make $1, but right now you can't. And it doesn't look good for the summer here, and for my business, anybody that is a drilling contractor, an oil company, it doesn't look good for them for the summer, and I think there's going to be a lot of people walking the streets looking for work again.
When asked to comment on this latest plunge in the price of oil, most local oil company officials declined the opportunity or referred us to their head offices in Calgary. However, some would say over the next week they'll be evaluating the situation before making any further decisions, like shutting down wells or canceling plans for drilling. For Oil Week, I'm Michael Higgins.
In these volatile markets, crude oil is only averaging about $15 a barrel more now than it was 25 years ago. But for the first time since last July, it closed at above $50 a barrel last week. A huge leap considering it was as low as $26.21 in February. Reporting for Newcap News for Retrospect this week, I'm Hannah Tita.